The show can't start until we crack open a bottle of Revelton. Whether it's their crisp, clean vodka, the bold spice of their rye whiskey, the rich smoothness of bourbon, or the original honey whiskey that started it all, every pour is a taste of craft and passion straight from the heart of Iowa. So pour yourself a drink, settle in, and get ready to relax, laugh, and enjoy the show.
Hey, it's Andrew Downs. I'm proud to support Three Beards Media, and I would love to work with you. If you need merchandise for your company, organization, band, softball team, whatever, I can help. From name brand apparel to promotional items, large orders or small, online stores, and more, I can help your brand stand out. AKC Marketing is local, based in Johnston, and we are an employee-owned business, so our costs are low and our turnaround times are fast. But most importantly, we give you personal service to make sure you get exactly what you're looking for. Email me at andrew@akcmarketing.com or find me on social media, and let's make some cool stuff together. Now sit back and enjoy this Three Beards Media podcast.
Would you like to sample some of my nuts?
You can lift your weights, you can run your miles, but you ain't got what's been earned through trials. It ain't in the gym, ain't in the youth, it's in busting knuckles and hard-lived truth. Back's been sore since 99, but I still stack wood and I still outgrind. Call me slow, call me old, but I got hands that could bend pure gold. Ain't about muscle, ain't about speed, it's about the fire when the time comes to lead. You can talk real tough, you can flex real wide, but when it's time to dig in, boys, step aside. Old man strength, built to last, years of work, no need for class. Ain't no quit, ain't no doubt, you don't know tough till you've been worn out.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Old Man Strength. I am one of your hosts, Chris Shipley, along with my co-host, Aaron Wall, broadcasting live from the AKC Andrew Downs Marketing Studio, and then, of course, sponsored by Revelton Distilling Company, styled by JJ Boutique, and Wintrust Mortgage, Kyle Lehman. Aaron, Brock just threw his second interception. It's ridiculous. Two of them really bad. Like, I'm not even sure he was thrown to. Vintage Brock.
It happens.
What's up?
Oh, getting along, busy. It's okay if you say you're the host of this show, because I'm only here like half the time, it seems like right now.
Try to keep it straight. Last time was legit though. We had Nathan Sage on, U.S. Senate candidate, and you don't live in Iowa, so you probably didn't even have a foggiest clue who that guy was. So,
yeah, that would be correct.
So
I barely know who the Senate candidates are in my state. So mostly because they're all corrupt. Yeah, I said it. You heard me.
No, they are. They're all corrupt. That's right.
But busy with work, traveling around a lot. I'm home this week, and I'll be in Hartford, Connecticut next week, and then down in Oregon the week after that, and then hopefully home until Christmas and New Year's, and so just a man about town.
Do you have a slow time for your job? Do you have a slow time? I mean,
it's usually this time of year. Yeah. But I was so busy kind of late summer, early fall, that things that I would have normally done during that time just kept getting pushed.
Right.
Something else would come up. And so here I am traveling for 2 weeks right before Thanksgiving.
Right.
Or I should say right between Thanksgiving and Christmas, which, it's the way it goes sometimes. And I thought I was going to have lots of free time, during this time, because my daughter got done with high school volleyball a week and a half ago or 2 weeks ago. And then she decided to stay busy, and she was going to manage the new girls flag football team. That's a state sponsored sport out here now.
Oh, okay.
And then after like a week of going to the practices, she's like, I think I'm going to play. Well, shit.
Really?
Because when you were managing the flag football team, I didn't have to go to all the games necessarily. And if you're going to play, now I feel like I have to try to be there all the time.
Yep.
which means all the drive-in travel I do is going to get compressed into killing myself for 2 or 3 days to get back in time for a game. Or
Right.
I don't understand how people with multiple kids do it. Like,
Yeah. We
it's-
were talking about this at work the other day. My boss was telling me he lives in Cedar Falls and drives into the office every once in a while, maybe once or twice a month or whatever, but he works out of his home office in Cedar Falls. And he was telling me, we have some Christmas stuff coming up for work. He's got to be here. And, he wants to make sure he's present for the kids and stuff. And sure enough, the night that we have our company Christmas party, his son has a performance or something at school. And he's like, how do I navigate that? Right. Like he's a partner at our company. He's got to, make an appearance. In his mind, he thinks he's got to make an appearance, but how does that, that's a tough decision to make. You know what I mean?
If I was him, I'd teleconference in.
Right? Just have a beer from the office or from his own office.
I would teleconference in and say, hey, sorry guys, I'm not there. But my son's got a performance in whatever play.
Right. And everybody would understand, right?
Exactly.
Like that's what I told him. I said, that's, you got to take care of your family first. And I'm sure that's probably what he's going to do. But to your point, it's the same thing. Like he's got several kids. We had 4 kids at one time, all in the house that were all doing stuff at one time. I can remember, I think the boys were playing flag football. Caitlin and Tyler had soccer or whatever in the fall. And it was just like, okay, well, we got something going on every night. When are you going to make dinner? When are you going to, you should have time to do that shit.
Yeah, no, for sure. Like, just before this, right? I worked from home all day. I whipped together some tater tot casserole. I took it out 3 minutes before I came down here and got on this podcast, and I haven't eaten it yet, but I had it ready for the family.
Yeah.
It's like, it's nuts. How busy people keep their kids these days.
Right.
Compared to when we were kids.
Oh yeah. Let's talk about that because
I was busy all the time. I played 3, sometimes 4 sports in high school.
Right.
But I lived in a small town. I could walk to the school. My parents didn't have to ferry me back and forth to practices and all that kind of stuff, which is time consuming, right? We live 3 miles or whatever from the high school, but it's all in town and there's no way to really walk there from our house. You could, but and it's your daughter's not going to walk that far and, all of that. So it's nuts because my neighbor, they've got 2 kids younger than Abby. And, one's in junior high and I think one's in his last year elementary, if I remember right. But they've got School of Rock and they've got soccer and they've got, it's 4 different activities their kids are in all at once. And I'm like, I never see my neighbor hardly because you kids are never home.
Right.
So
we were talking about this at work the other day about the parenting differences. Cause I work with some people that are, mid-30s, they have young kids or whatever. And I'm like, the first one is school drop off, which is a complete foreign thing to me. I take that back. I would drop my kids off, right, and I would pick them up. But for me, the thought of getting dropped off at school or getting picked up, that shit wasn't happening. There's no way. I walked to school every day, or rode my bike, and was home and had my own key to the house. It's just, and it's not even so much safety. Maybe it is, but I just feel like I don't know that I would have trusted my, 10, 11-year-old to be home by themselves right after school like my parents did me. And I don't know why. I clearly was capable.
Yeah, I know. It's a different thing. And I think some of it is the societal norm now to some extent, right? In that, is that considered neglect or child abuse, or, you know, there's people who worry about that kind of stuff. I don't particularly worry about, but there are laws in place for some of that kind of stuff.
Right.
Like kids can't be home by themselves, you know, or whatever, because if something happens, then you can be seen as neglectful.
Right.
And then the schools don't make it any easier anymore, because all of the things that used to get offered at school, you know, transportation wise and everything else, is now
Right.
completely different than it was. You know, there's, you know, no buses after practices, and
Yep.
heck, even to games. Like, so my daughter's playing this flag football, and there's no school provided transportation to games.
Really?
No.
Huh.
Extracurricular stuff is not included. Now, I think they'll include it if it's out of district, which means it's kind of out of town.
Right.
But I'm not even sure that's the case. But if it's in town, because there's 3 or 4 high schools or whatever basically in town, right?
Right.
There's no transportation provided at all. And so it's like, you know, yeah, I
Man.
get it's in town and everything, and they all basically play at the same Memorial Stadium, right? I mean, the games are going to be in the same place, but it's like that just puts the burden on the parents to get them there, especially as JV, you know, kids that can't drive.
Right.
Or you end up with a car full of kids
Driving
to a game. And I don't know how the liability side of that works. I assume because it's an elective activity that maybe the school doesn't have liability for that. But
I guess I look back. I guess when I played high school soccer. Now, granted, that was during the summers. That was when soccer was done during the summers, and it was a new sport.
right,
I remember taking a bus to Ames, but again, because it was so long distance. But the schools in town, I think I remember driving to North in my own car and meeting the team there, Dowling. Like, we met. So you might be, I mean, it might have been the same way back then too. Like, unless it was, you know, outside of the district or outside of an X number, we didn't have a bus. Now, I'm trying to remember, like, as a freshman and sophomore, when I didn't have a license, you were either riding with your parents or you were getting a ride with, to your point, with your buddy that maybe was a junior or senior and had his license. But then school permits were back then too. That was a big thing too, was we had a school permit. So you could still drive to your activities or whatever with a school permit.
yeah, and that's not a thing up here at all.
Oh, really?
No,
It's still a thing here.
yeah,
Huh.
no, that's so if you're under 16, you can get a permit right at 14, or is it 14? 15. I think it's 15.
Yeah.
And then you don't get your license until 18 unless you take driver's ed, which
Okay.
as you know, is not a school thing.
That's not a school thing anymore either. Yeah.
Right. And so you take driver's ed, you can get your license at 16, and then you can't drive with another person in the car unless it's a family.
Right.
For 6 months.
Yeah, we had that too. You can choose that, right? So if you're a parent, like Caitlin, when she went through and was 16, we could choose that. Do we want to limit her how many people can be in the car? And we could choose up to 2. So like she could have 2 other people in the car with her, but that was it. Other than family. So
yeah, I don't remember there being any option of that when I did mine, because I know I drove home from getting my license and me and my buddy went and tore ass around town.
Yeah.
But you know, it's interesting and different. It's just, you know, the amount of time and money and all that involved in extracurricular activities now. And, you know, to a certain extent, my daughter had talked about, you know, I don't know that I want to play or this, that, or the other, because I just want to be a kid. And then she puts herself in this stuff, which is fine. I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
And I don't mind her being busy. You know, but it's just like, man, there's just no breaks in any of this stuff.
I know I always joke and say I can't tell you how many Iowa State basketball games I watched on my phone in a show choir auditorium, wasting my entire fucking Saturdays away because you'd have to take them. They did take the bus, so you'd have to take them at like 4 a.m. to the
drop
school
them
to
off.
get on the bus. They'd be on the bus. Then the performance would start at like 8. So of course Stacy and I are going to the performance. You got to pay to get in there. Now we found a loophole because our friend's daughter was in like junior show choir or whatever. So they would go early in the morning and then they'd be done for the entire day. So they would go pay for their little bracelets and then slip the bracelets off, and then we would put those on and go see Caitlin. And we would just split the cost. But I don't know if you ever did show choir or went to a show choir, but you're there all day.
No,
So
no,
you-
I know they are, but
So you watch your kids' performance, right? And to our point, like Caitlin did lead a lot, so she had at least one solo. So we'd watch the performance, and then would have to sit there the entire rest of the day to see if they made finals. And then if they made finals, you had to go out of the auditorium and then repay to get back in to see finals. And then finals were, X number until like 10, 11 o'clock at night. And then you're driving home. Well, every year she would have a performance in Sioux City. And after the first 2 years, we were like, this is fucking dumb. We're getting a hotel. So we would go up with our friends and we would get a hotel. And then we would just go to the hotel and stay and then come home the next day because otherwise we were driving home at 3 a.m.
right.
So, but again, if I'd have told my dad, hey, I'm in show choir, you need to take an entire Saturday and be at the show choir show. He'd be like, no, fuck that. Just let me know how good you did.
Yeah. Well, I mean, my parents would have been there. I mean, they didn't miss anything.
Yeah.
In 4 years, I think my parents missed one JV basketball game because it was an hour.
That's cool.
It was an hour and a half away.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Don't come. It's fine." You know. And I try to do the same thing. I try not to miss any of the games, and because I want her to know that we support her and all that she wants to do.
Yeah.
But I don't think she would care if I didn't. Right.
Right.
So it's just interesting. I just don't know how parents juggle it all and do all that. But I mean, I've got one, and I feel like we're always doing something. So I can't imagine what it's like with 2, 3, 4 kids.
Right. Yeah. My dad, I don't know why. And that was the same growing up. Once I became a parent, I had the same attitude as you did. I'm going to go to every single thing, partially for me, because I knew what it was like to not have them there.
Right.
Now, maybe my dad was working late, like he, did construction. Like I don't know. I was younger. I never really understood it. He would go to some things, but the majority of my high school soccer games, he wasn't there. I drove myself, and he wasn't there. I can't tell you why. Don't have a good reason, and I don't mean it to talk negatively about my dad, but that was definitely not something I was going to do. I was going to go to everything, and I was going to be at everything, and I was going to be involved, and I would coach soccer for the girls and stuff like that. But it was just a different thing, right? Even like taking, like, I remember when I would take the kids to practice, and then I would wait at practice with all the other parents. My parents were dropping me off and then be like, all right, I'll be back at 6:15 to pick you up. Like, they weren't sitting around waiting to watch me practice. Like, that wasn't happening.
Yeah. But yeah, it's all interesting, but
it is a trauma dump. Ray, what are you, new to the show?
This is what happens when we haven't talked to each other in a while.
Right, and we don't have a guest, so now it's old school.
Hasn't shown up, so
talk
we're just
about our feelings.
Talking about life and old man stuff.
Right.
But so speaking about life, my daughter's going to be 16 here in a few days. We'll have her license. So that's all kinds of scary. My wife is, obviously panicked about how all that's going to go.
And she's got the car that you bought her.
Yeah, 77 Volkswagen Beetle. So it's up running, put new headlights on it here recently. So it's got LEDs, so it's much brighter than the old
Nice.
halogen lights that were in it. So yeah, it's life moves fast, man. It's crazy.
Listen, we were joking a little bit ago about how Caitlin moved back and the boys just moved out. Like, I was thinking about this the other day. So I met Stacy when the boys were in kindergarten, just finished kindergarten. They just turned 23 like 9 days ago. So Jordan has moved into his host home. He moved in April. And for those that don't know what a host home is, it's basically a couple or a family that the mom and dad, that's their job, is they're caretakers, right? They've worked in this industry, so they've opened up their home, and then an adult with special needs will move in with them, and they pretty much let them live there, and they caretake them and take them to their appointments. They have some freedom away from their parents, and it gives the parents some amount of disconnect, right? Because it's not healthy for your kids to live with you. Mm-hmm. It's just not healthy for your kids to live with you when they're, especially somebody that has special needs and is going to need long-term care to live with their parents, right? I mean, next thing you know, they're 40, we're 80, and what kind of future do they have, right? So, so Jordan moved into his in April, and it was a long process for Josh. And Josh just moved in a month ago. Tomorrow we have a 30-day follow-up meeting with their host home and the service company and stuff like that. So, but kind of the same deal. Like, it doesn't seem that long ago that they were in high school, which was in 2021. Like, they've went to DMAC, and now they're moved out into their host homes. And full circle, Caitlin's back in the house.
Yeah, which is crazy talk. My kid leaves, she's never coming back.
Yeah, well, I got news for you. That doesn't happen.
No, it will happen. It's not an option.
I'm marking the tape.
Yeah, mark it. Go ahead.
Mark the tape.
She's
that's another old man thing. I always say I'm marking the tape, and everybody's like, "What the fuck are you talking about?"
Yeah, right. I've planned for my daughter to be an independent person, and part of that was saving money for college. I've got enough money to put her through college so she can get out with no debt.
That's great.
So when she gets out with no debt, I've paid my dues. Go get a job, learn how to manage your money, which she's already actually pretty good at. For a 16-year-old, she's pretty good on her spending and stuff, because she has a debit card, and she makes some money cat sitting and stuff for neighbors, and all that kind of stuff.
Cat sitting.
Yeah, like when they go out of town, like for a week,
just go over there and feed the cat and scoop out the litter
play with
box.
them a little bit, right?
I gotcha.
That kind of stuff. So she does a pretty good job with that. But it's like, hey, I put you out into the world with no debt. Figure it out. Not to say that I wouldn't,
no, but
that's car loan or something if they needed it,
right?
Out. But it's like, figure it out. I'm not paying your bills. You got to go figure this out.
Well, that's one thing I haven't had to do with Caitlin. Tyler is another story. As I would use my dad's saying, all he'll ever do is be able to get even with me. He'll never get to the point where I owe him more than he owes me. So, but Caitlin's always been really good about that. And she moved out after college and got a job and moved into an apartment, and then was living with her at the time boyfriend. And they were not living together for the longest time. And then they finally made a decision he was going to move in. And then she was finally able to, I said, now might be the time to get a better car. You have a good paying job. Now your bills are basically in half now. You're driving around in this clunker of a car that you're going to have. You need something more reliable to get back and forth to work. And you've got the money. You don't have a lot of bills. And she bought it. And 3 months later, the guy, I don't know, went rogue and broke up with her. And next thing you know, she's stuck with full rent and all her bills and now a car payment. So
now I have a question.
Yep.
What kind of car did she buy?
She bought a used 2023 Chevy Trailblazer. Only had 8,000 miles on it. I think she paid like $24,000 for it.
Yeah, so that's a significant investment.
Correct. Yeah.
Right.
That's yeah. That's
She had been driving the same car that she had since middle of high school.
yeah.
Until then. So she had made that used car of hers last. But again, she was going back and forth to work. She needed something reliable. That car was starting to have some failures that she had. It was just time.
No, for sure. But she bought a Traverse.
No, I'm sorry. A Trailblazer. It was a smaller one.
Oh,
It's a smaller SUV. Yeah, it's a smaller SUV.
Like a Traverse is not
No,
good.
no.
Gas. I've owned one. They're not great.
We have a Traverse. I'm sorry. We have a Traverse.
They're huge.
No, she bought a Trailblazer. Now, to her credit, within a year, when she was getting ready to move back in here, she on her own went and got it refinanced with no extra time on the loan, and got a lower rate. And she got a lower rate and shortened her length on her loan because she knew she was going to be living with home. And I told her, you don't have to pay me any rent. So she's paying more on the car, and she's paying more on top of the principal. So
You're fired. You're fired. Make her pay rent.
nope. Why would I make her pay rent?
Forced savings account.
Okay.
You make her pay rent, and then
I would give it back to her. Right. Okay.
When
But-
she goes to buy a house or move out, when she needs deposit money or whatever.
We've had that discussion, but she wants to put all her extra money into paying this car off. So she wants to be debt free. I get it. And full disclosure, Kyle Lehman at Wintrust Mortgage has amazing programs for first time home buyers with down payment assistance. So
I would like to be debt free.
that's right. Speaking of debt free, let's talk about let's take a break and we can talk about the financial what it's like to have to close out a parent's estate and financial situation.
That'd be good. I might learn something for when
this sucks. I'm telling you right now, it totally sucks. So let's get a break. We'll get a word from Revelton Distilling Company and Styled at JJ Boutique, which will open up an option for Aaron to make fun of me for getting a new outfit. I'm sure he's chomping at the bit to make fun of me for that.
Can't be worse than your Ed Hardy shirts.
I've never wore an Ed Hardy shirt in my life. I don't even know what that is. I did maybe wear a Bedazzled Dragon shirt one time, but it was a JC Penney version, not Ed Hardy. So
your affliction shirts, though.
Yeah, my affliction shirt. That's right. All right, let's get a word from our two sponsors. We'll come back, and Aaron and I are going to talk about how to settle up my mom's stupid estate.
Making great tasting bourbon requires the perfect combination of ingredients, conditions, and time. The longer it rests, the better it tastes. Revelton Distillery's new single barrel bourbon is made from 80% corn, sourced 100% from Iowa farmers. And unlike mass-produced bourbons, each barrel of Revelton's single barrel bourbon is unique, proofed on when it tastes best. As they like to say, it'll be ready when it's ready. And to ensure the highest standards of quality and flavor, owners Rob and Christy Taylor oversee the production and bottling. Every single barrel. Iowa born, Iowa aged, Iowa bottled. Try the new single barrel bourbon from Iowa's own Revelton Distillery. ReveltonDistillery.com.
Gentlemen, let's be honest. Finding the perfect gift for your wife or girlfriend isn't always easy. You want something thoughtful, stylish, and unique. And that's exactly what you'll find at Styled by JJ Boutique. Julia Bradshaw and her team strive to be your go-to boutique for casual, boho, and chic clothing and accessories, helping women elevate their style one piece at a time. Located right here in Johnston, Iowa, Styled by JJ brings trendy, high-quality fashion that boosts confidence without breaking the bank. So, if you're looking for a gift that says, I get you, instead of I tried, head to Styled by JJ Boutique. Because nothing makes her smile like feeling beautiful. Styled by JJ Boutique, where style meets confidence. Visit our Johnston location or shop online at styledbyjjboutique.com.
All right, and we're back, and we have such great sponsors here. Revelton Distilling Company, of course, our longtime sponsor, Rob and Christy Taylor down there do a great job. And our newest one, JJ, styled by JJ, Julia Bradshaw. She's getting me all fixed up for this big awards dinner that I have on December 5th. I go Monday to try on a bunch of clothes. I'm super excited. New shoes, new clothes, new me.
So I have a question about that, right?
Yeah.
So I know she's helping you out, but is that like sort of their normal business model? Like you can pay them to help you do that? Like for instance, if I wanted to buy my wife, say I got, $500.
Yep.
I give it to them and say, hey, look, I'm going to send her in. You guys pick out an outfit. Here's the budget.
Yeah, she'll go through and kind of talk to the person about what they like, what their style is, what they're comfortable with, how comfortable are they trying something new. And then for me, like for example, she's ordered a bunch of stuff, and then I'll come in and I'll try some different things and whatever else, and then I'll purchase whatever I decide to keep. Right. So, but it's kind of like let's discover what, and take yourself out of those comfort zones and those norms of, you should really try this or try that. So, but yeah, that's what she does. Is she'll do a style consultation for you, or you can just go shop at her boutique anytime as well. So,
right. No, okay, that's.
So even if that's what you want to do, go in there, buy a gift card or whatever, and set up an appointment for your wife or girlfriend to go get a styled appointment and a little bit of pampering and stuff like that. It's super cool. She's got a great little boutique over there. I mean, she's made Bill Blank look good. So, I mean,
very difficult task.
She's making Bill Blank look good. She's got some talent.
Yeah. See, I think that would be a good idea for you dudes out there who want to take your ladies or women who want to take your dudes.
Right.
Chris can use all the help you can get, as we know, on style.
I can. That's right.
And then, you send them in there during the day. They do their style thing. They come out with a new outfit that they can wear out on the town that night. You have a nice big fancy date night afterwards. That I think that would make your significant other feel special.
100%. 100%. No doubt whatsoever.
Because I don't live in Des Moines, but it's a good idea.
It is a good idea. We have a new sponsor coming on. I'll be able to make the announcement next week. I'm going to do some filming at our newest sponsor, so I'm super excited to talk about that. That they will be a sponsor on all of our Three Beards Media networks and podcasts. So, and Julia is actually going to launch a podcast with us too. So she's going to launch a podcast. It is in the works. Amy's actually working on the logo and things like that for her, and it's going to highlight women and women's small business here in Des Moines. So
that's great.
Yeah, so we're super excited to be able to help her do that and get the word out for that. So, all right. So, Aaron, I don't know, have we talked since my mom passed away? Have you been on a show? It's been a while since you've been on a show.
I don't think we have. I mean, I checked in on you after it happened and all of that, but we haven't really gotten in depth with it. So, I'm interested in the things that you're learning and finding out as you do this,
dude.
In part because my dad just turned 83.
Yeah.
My mom's 72.
Right.
I'm the executor of their estate on paper.
Yeah.
Well,
a couple things that I learned is
like you do, right?
Yeah. A couple things that I learned was, so like when we, in March, my sister Dee messaged me and we were talking about whether or not we should do some final arrangements and stuff for my mom, right? Because we hadn't done anything like that. I remember when my dad passed away, I said something to mom maybe a couple months after that. I was like, hey, we don't want to go through that again of not having anything planned. And true to mom's fashion, mom's response was, fuck that. You can deal with it when I'm dead. So I was like, okay, well, I'll just whatever. So
unhelpful.
Right. So as she continued to unfortunately progress worse and worse, it was time. So my sister Kim actually had found this place called Simplify, which was a place that was, I won't say very expensive, but they simplify the process, right? Like it's not all these bells and whistles that, they try to hose you for. So you could pre-plan and pay for the cremation or a full funeral service and whatever else. So mom wanted to be cremated. Well, first things first is I had power of attorney over mom as far as health wise and things like that. So when I tried to do it first, I had to prove power of attorney. Well, do you think I could find that paperwork? Couldn't find it anywhere. So I had to circle back. I had to actually take mom with me so that she could pretty much answer their questions and tell them yes or no. So when it came time to explain, they asked her, who do you want to make the decisions and whatever else. Mom was like, well, I want Chris to make those decisions, which it was always agreed upon with my parents that it was just going to kind of fall to me. Not that my sisters weren't capable. I can't tell you why they always chose me. I don't know. And all my sisters were on board with it, right? They were like, that's fine. We understand. So we prepaid mom's plan, and then I actually paid for it. And then every month, mom's Social Security coming in, I would pull a little bit out of that Social Security because she always had extra money, and then I would pay towards that. So we had it paid off in 3 or 4 months, right? It came to like $1,600. It wasn't that much. But the crazy thing is that it was more expensive if you do it pre-planned. If it was after the death, it was cheaper, and I never could figure that out.
Well, it's to an extent an insurance policy of who knows how
That's
long
exactly what it was,
and
right?
what the price of these things is going to do.
Right.
That's
exactly what it was.
My folks have done the same thing, and I can't remember the name of the company, but I know where my paperwork is. But they have a thing where even if they die here in Seattle,
yeah,
we bought this thing through some network where like I could have them cremated here in Seattle and have their ashes and stuff shipped back to Missouri,
right?
Because they don't necessarily want the funeral and all of those things. They want us to take their ashes to the bar and spend the money we'd spend on a funeral, getting everybody drunk and having a good time, right? So
yeah,
they've done that work for us, which is nice. So that's
so
I'm going to say funeral homes and all that freaking people. And if you're one of those people listening, I'm sorry. You might be a very nice person, but they're vultures.
They are 100%. They are
preying on people's grief and everything else. So if you learn nothing else from this conversation, people, plan this stuff in advance. Don't get caught making an emotional decision about it.
Right.
At the time of, because you're going to get taken advantage of.
Yeah. We kind of did that. That kind of happened a little bit with Dad because Dad wanted cremated. But then I remember we ended up having a funeral service with him, with his body before he was cremated. Now, we didn't pay for a casket or anything like that, but that cost, more money. And hindsight being the fact that he didn't want that, but we did it because we wanted to give something to have people be able to come and celebrate. And then after Mom passed away, we were like, no, we'll just have a service after she's cremated, and we'll do it. Like, there doesn't need to be a body there. We can have the same discussion and things like that. So that's, you know what I mean? So to your point, they certainly tug at the heartstrings and be like, well,
that's what the bar is for.
Right. Yes. Right.
We'll take that 10 grand we would have spent
on
funeral home arrangements and all that.
Yep.
And we're going to go to the bar, and I'm going to slap 10 grand down on the bar and say, hey, when we're out of money, close it down.
Yeah. So after Mom passed away, so when we went to the funeral home the day of, they're asking questions, whatever. And let's back up. Did you know that power of attorney ends the minute that somebody dies? Even though me and my sister Gail had power of attorney, the minute the mom died, that ceased to happen, and it went to the very next of kin. So when we were at the nursing home, they explained it to us. There was me, my sister Jackie, who's the oldest, and my sister Kim was there. My sister Dee lives like 3 hours away, so she couldn't unfortunately be there. And we went to the nursing home where Mom passed away, and the lady was like, listen, regardless of who has power of attorney, by law, we have to speak to the next of kin, which was my sister Jackie, because my dad had died. And so they defaulted to her on some of these questions. And then, of course, we talked about it as a family. But that was one thing I did not know, that So if you don't have something like an executor in the will, it goes to the next of kin. So, how old is your brother? Is your brother older than you?
Yeah, I'm the youngest. So.
Yeah. So, if you didn't have that but your parents always said, well, we want Aaron to handle it. Once they died, that wouldn't matter regardless, unless you obviously have a brother that's like, yeah, Aaron will take care of it. It's not a big deal. But so that's number one that I did not know. So then mom's bank account was a joint bank account that I had opened with her so that I had access to her money so I could pay her bills and so forth. After she passed away, I had to pay like a transfer fee for her body to the funeral home. So I used her card and we paid for that. And that came out of whatever money I think she had like $800 in her account after the day that she died, which was actually the day before her Social Security was supposed to hit. And I remember thinking, well, what happens when that Social Security number like check gets hit? Like I don't want the nursing home to take it all. Like, and my wife Stacy was just like, I think it'll be fine. It'll be fine. Well, sure enough, that Social Security check hit, and a day and a half later, Social Security recalled it. So they had already known.
Right.
So just so you know, Doge people, nobody dead's getting Social Security because they were on top of it within a day and a half of my mom's death. So anyways, there was about $600 left in there, right? So a couple weeks later, I started getting these medical bills, $18 here, something that's starting to show up. So I went to go pay for it. Couldn't pay with mom's card, even though I hadn't contacted the bank, hadn't done anything with the bank yet, because I wanted to be able to use that money for whatever might come in that I would have to pay. And they ended up, I don't know, the card would never work after that, but I could go into the bank account and move that money. So I just moved it all over into my account, and then I just paid with my card. So I thought, well, I'm gonna wait, X number of months, and then whatever's left out of that money, I'll split between me and my sisters, because I'm not gonna keep it. Well, then I get a text from my sister D. She gets this Health and Human Services medical debt response letter that is basically for Medicaid, I think, or something, that basically says, hey, here's the accumulated amount of money that I think we've spent on your mom. And it was like $178,000. And it says in there that from what I understand, it means I need to fill out this form, and whatever was left in her bank account the day that she died, they get to pay towards that. Now, my assets and anything that is the children's assets don't have to pay that. So it just comes out of whatever was left in mom's estate. Right. Mm. So this was a little nerve wracking. And I was like, I don't know what this is. I've never, I'm getting nervous. And then a day later, I get these two hospital bills that total like $1,600 from some hospital visits in 2022. And same deal. It says it's from like a collection site. And in there it says, that only debts or only assets that were paid through Lydia Shipley's estate can be, done or can be used to pay for this. So now I'm all confused on that. So I'm filling out this paperwork, and it asks me that I'm filling out this Health and Human Services paperwork today. And it has in there to minus the assets by any medical debt that's left. So I was like, okay, well, there's an $1,800 debt here. So I put that down. And then I had to call Simplify, the funeral home, because it asked what the pre-burial amount was and what the post-burial amount to pay was. So I couldn't find that paperwork when I was at work. So I called them. They forwarded it to me. And then I get all this filled out. And then like a half an hour, I get a text message from the funeral home. Apparently they offer, as part of what I paid for, like estate closing assistance. So like you can meet with these people, and they will look at all this stuff for you and help you close all these accounts and things like that. So I feel a little better about that now. But like even mom's bank account is still technically open. I got to go over there, I suppose, and take the death certificate and close the bank account, I guess. So it's just I have a little bit of a pit in my stomach that I'm going to make a mistake here somewhere. And then next thing you know, I'm going to get a bill that I owe somebody for, you know what I mean? Like, I just don't know.
Right. Yeah. No, it's all interesting. and how all that works. And like, I'm on all of my mom and dad's financial accounts as the third person on everything.
Right.
Their Edward Jones, their bank account, their the whole shebang.
Yeah.
You know, and so I'm not on their house, I don't think.
Right.
But I think that's the one thing I'm not on. But yeah, so it's going to be interesting when all of that occurs as to what happens. I didn't know that Medicare came back after money.
Well, I guess I don't like, because what Medicare or Medicaid, I don't know which one it is. It's Iowa Department of Health and Human Services. When I got the letter, and when my sister texted me the letter, that she sent me some screenshots of it, I immediately like texted, or I emailed her Iowa Total Care rep that for Medicaid. And he was like, yeah, I don't think that came from us. And I was like, okay, well, I don't know what this is, and so I'll have to fill it out. But it was
Are you sure it's not a scam?
no, because it's Iowa, and he said you might want to check. It's probably Health and Human Services. So he kind of knew, I think, what it was. And it's not asking me to pay anything. It just says medical assistance debt $127,000. It says medical assistance, which is known as Medicaid, includes programs such as medically needy and elderly waiver, which is what she was on. The provision of medical assistance to an individual who is 55 years in age and older, or a resident of a long-term care facility and cannot reasonably be expected to return home, creates a debt that is due upon the individual's death. This debt must be and can only be paid from anything that the individual owned or had an interest in at the time of the death. So basically, the way I read this is you fill out this form of what the assets were, you fill out the form of what the debts were, and whatever's left, they get. That's what I'm guessing.
So it sounds to me like the best thing to do is before you die, move everything out of your name.
What's that?
I said it sounds to me like the best thing to do before you die is to move everything out of your name.
Correct. Yes. Correct. But obviously Social Security doesn't work that way. Her Social Security had to be deposited into her account every month.
Yeah.
Now, the thing is that her Social Security was getting deposited every month, and then everything out of that was going to the nursing home other than $50. But previously to that, she was living in an assisted living and was getting rent assistance, so she wasn't using all of her Social Security, and I would hold some of that back for instances where she would need money for something, right? Or a big expense or something like that. Or to the effect of, I wasn't sure what was going to happen after she died if I would need some of that money. So, but to your point, yeah, unload all of it. If you know you're going to die, unload it, because
I like, if the minute you go into nursing home, put it all in somebody else's name is what it sounds like.
Yep. Yeah.
You know,
so
have no assets.
But I don't know now. I need to call this collection company, because I'm just like, I don't know that she's got $600. Which one of you two want to fight over it? Because I don't know who gets it.
Yeah, no, that's.
I'm going to guess the government's going to get theirs first. That would be
probably. So the other thing is, I wonder if that's why rich people have trusts.
Oh, 100%, I'm sure.
Because you can't come after a trust. So
you know who we need to ask? We need to ask Ward Phillips from Farm Bureau, who I just moved all of my financial stuff to, and is thinking about being a sponsor.
Yeah,
well, yeah.
That would be interesting, because if you put it all into a quote unquote family trust,
yeah,
then you don't technically have assets. The trust does.
Right.
I'm not sure how all that works. I've never been rich, so
no shit. Well, we learned last year when we were at the Williams Syndrome conference for the boys, we learned of something called a special needs trust, which did not even dawn on us that we need to get filled out. And again, shout out to Ward. He got me connected to somebody that can help us with this. But we need to set up special needs trust for the boys, because we were not aware that if, let's say, we pass away, or maybe their grandfather passes away or whatever, and the grandfather leaves money to them, that will jeopardize their Social Security benefits that they get for disability. So there's different trusts that you can leave for special needs that will go into a trust so that it doesn't affect their disability benefits and things like that. So had no idea about that. And, a lot of older generation, have probably not even thinking about it. They buy every one of their grandkids. Let's say they buy them a CD or something like that matures, or they,
Right.
set up something that when they die, their grandkids get X number of dollars, not realizing that it can affect their disability benefits, and they get that payment. And then once it's gone, it's super hard to get them back on it. So we heard some stories from some people that were telling us about these, that this is why you need to do that. So it's all those types of things out there you just don't think about.
Yeah, that's tough. That's a tough one.
But again, to your point, I've never been that rich to worry about a trust, so I wasn't aware of it.
Yeah, no, I get it. I understand, because that's one of those things where my wife and I are looking at doing it as estate planning. Now that we're 47, closing in on
Right.
50, and all of that, we need to have a will, and what happens officially with Abby if anything does happen, and all
Right.
of that. I mean, she's our only kid, so she's going
Sure.
to get everything, but
Right.
do we need to set it up as that it goes into a trust? Because if she's 19 when that happens, do we want it to be in a trust until
Right.
she's 25, or
Yep.
so that it's managed right?
Well, we even talked about it with our 4 kids. Obviously, we would need to have a trust for the boys. Tyler has had some issues, and I don't mean this negatively. She's had some issues. He's had some issues with money and things like that. That do we set something up where maybe we allocated that he gets X number of dollars every year until he's whatever, even though he's 30 years old, you know what I mean? I mean, I don't know. Those are conversations we have to have. And it's not as far-fetched as you think. I mean, we just purchased our burial plot a couple months ago because there's a church cemetery that we want to be buried. We want to be put in, and financial wizards that we are, the price was going up to $1,000. So we bought it at $700 before they raised the price.
Hey,
So
savvy.
they saved our kids $300 because
That's right.
we're both
Well,
getting cremated and we only
15
needed
years
one
from
plot.
now- 15 years from now, it could have been $2,000.
That's right. Yeah.
So, yeah.
And we only need one plot because we're both getting cremated. So what do we need 2 plots for?
Yeah, I'm planning on being rolled down a hill for the wolves. So I don't need a plot, period.
Oh, I want to be there for that.
Find me a place where you can just dump me off in a ditch somewhere.
That seems a little gruesome. That
Well,
seems a little...
dead. I don't give a shit. I'm dead.
My dad used to say, you don't see a U-Haul behind a hearse. You never
Yeah.
see that.
Right. So
Translation, also, he didn't have shit that would have fit in a U-Haul anyway. So
yeah, no, I get that. So well, that'll be interesting. You'll have to keep me up to date on anything else you learn on that, because
yeah, it's
and
yeah, it's
maybe we
nerve-wracking and
need to think about having, because this is old man strength, having having a financial planner come on and talk about
Right.
that kind of stuff, because it's people don't want to talk about it.
nope.
And that's what I think gets people in trouble.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
they don't prepare.
It's just like
It-
my mom,
it
the
sucks.
thought of, I mean, in reality, right? Like when I asked her years ago after Dad died, it would have been so much easier to do it back then when she would have been of her faculties and been able to have a better conversation and things like that, right?
And you might have saved $300.
Right. We might have saved some money, but now she was like, nope, you can just do the same thing you did with your dad. Okay, well, that's not very helpful.
Yeah.
So, and I'm sure it was a lot of, I don't want to think about that type of stuff.
Yeah.
I don't, you know what I mean? And I've thought a lot about it when we had to move her to the nursing home. That was really hard. Like, she did not want to leave.
Yeah.
And it was some serious hard conversations that she would be yelling at me, telling me what a terrible son I am, and I can't believe you're doing this to me, and you're ruining my life. And I would just leave, and I'd be like, I never want to put my kids through that. Like, that's I understand that she's not of her faculties and she doesn't fully understand what she's saying, but it doesn't make it less hurtful. And I would never want to put my kids through that.
Yeah, it would suck hard. So,
But we're moving on. She's in a better place. So, but yeah, I'll try not to spend this whirlwind of $600 that we have foolishly.
financial windfall.
Right? Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll put it all in the ambulance.
Yeah, there
Which-
you go.
Which I had another incident last weekend. Did you see this tweet that I sent out?
No, I missed it.
So last Saturday, well, let's get a word from Kyle. We'll get one last break from Kyle, and then we'll come back and we'll talk about this, and then
Oh, great.
we'll get out of here.
We'll
So-
end with dumb ambulance story. All right.
That's
here we
right. Yeah, we're gonna end with dumb ambulance story. All right, let's get a word from Kyle Lehman at Wintrust Mortgage, who again has programs for first-time home buyers, like I said earlier, and who in 2020 saved me so much money on a refinance that I have money now to give to my kids when I die. So it's all comes full circle. See what I did there?
There is an ambulance that you're paying for.
Yeah,
So
that's right,
I'm
yes.
on money.
Yeah, the money pit of the ambulance is
Yeah.
that's right.
So there you go.
Well, maybe I'll be able to leave it to one of the kids.
Whether you're buying, selling, or refinancing your home, or if it's simply time to renovate the one you're already living in, you need an experienced mortgage professional to help you analyze your financing options and to make sure the closing goes smoothly. And that's exactly what you get when you call Kyle Lehman at Wintrust Mortgage. Kyle's experience and expertise, coupled with Wintrust's rates and programs, ensures you'll get the mortgage that's right for you. You may even qualify for down payment assistance. Before you reach out to a realtor, call Kyle and get pre-qualified, empowering you to start shopping for the home of your dreams. Call Kyle at 515-473-0546. Kyle Lehman Wintrust Mortgage, 515-473-0546.
All right, we're back with this episode of Old Man Strength. I was looking at Facebook during the break, and I had posted last night that we're coming up with the 1-year anniversary of the launch of Billy and Willie's workshop.
Right.
And I had posted the video of the show promo that we had did for when they were at the Funny Bone. And Amy, our marketing genius at Three Beards Media and former host of Hot Mess Happy Hour, said, "Happy 1 year. I knew it was coming up because my photo memories last week were a bunch of logos." And I go, that's because Bill's a picky asshole. Bill revised that logo probably 17 times back and forth for Amy. I thought Amy was going to choke you. Okay. So last Saturday was the last game of the year. So the previous Sunday, it was nice out here. It was like, I don't know, 60 degrees. And I was walking out to the garage to do something. And I was like, I'm going to start the ambulance because I kind of like to fire it up a couple times throughout the week to make sure, it's running fine or whatever before we take it up to Ames. So I come out on Sunday, I start it, and I go in the house and I grab my car keys, and I'm going to go up and I got to get some light bulbs for the house and a couple other things. So I run up to Ace Hardware, get a couple things, come back. I'm not gone 20 minutes. And I come back and there's a whole fucking river of something flowing from the front of the ambulance down my fucking driveway. And I'm like, you have got to be fucking kidding me.
What
right
color was it?
It was pink.
Oh,
So full disclosure, right? Like, so shout out to Chris Cox, who helped me get the ambulance fixed a couple months ago. Dude didn't even know me, worked his ass off to help me. Friend of Keith Stragi, who's a friend of the show. So anyways, that he's my first call, right? I'm like, calling him. I'm like, I don't know what this is. And he's like, well, give those mechanics guys a call. So I texted them, sent them photos, sent some photos to my brother-in-law, who's a mechanic, and then sent some photos to my neighbor down the street who has looked at the ambulance with me every once in a while when there's been some small problems or whatever. Now, this is what I decided to do. Oh, I'll take a bunch of photos and I'll upload them to Chat GPT, and surely that'll be able to help me diagnose the problem, right?
idiot.
Hey, that shit works, by the way. It does work. Okay. So
You're
It's
just
leading-
giving the machines more information to kill us all in 20 years.
I for one welcome our future overlords.
All right.
So anyways, it tells me that it could be transmission fluid, but it's more likely power steering fluid from where it's coming from and where it's dripping and things like that. And that can also be pink. So I'm like, okay. So I find the power steering thing and I check it and it looks a little low. And I'm thinking, okay, I'm gonna have to figure out how to do all this. Well, my neighbor texts me. He's like, hey, are you home? And I said, he goes, I'll come down and let's take a look at it. So he goes, start it back up. And sure enough, you start it and it's just, you can just see it just dripping from somewhere. So he crawls underneath and I look above and he goes, I think it might be this clamp right here. And there's a little hose, a line running into the coolant, and there's a clamp. And I can see the top of the clamp. And sure enough, that shit's just bubbling out of the clamp. So we turn it off. He's like, I think that's a transmission line going into the coolant. He gets a screwdriver and tightens that clamp, turn it on, leak stops. But now I've got a shit load of transmission fluid all over the fucking driveway. So I put transmission fluid in it, let it idle, get it on a level ground to make sure I've got enough in there. That's done. And then I had to throw a bunch of kitty litter on this transmission oil that was, but I thought for sure I was going to have another problem with this fucking ambulance. So I was like, I cannot catch a fucking break with this thing. No wonder Three Beards Media isn't running a profit.
Whoa. What? It's a marketing budget. It's a write-off.
It's right. It's a write-off.
That's
right.
All $12 that we make.
Right. So yeah, I was a little skeptical that I was going to be able to take it to the last game, but parked in the RV Village again. That was a good time. Parked right next to Brent Bloom.
How did you get a space in that? I heard that you were doing that, but how did that happen?
So I've been there 3 times this year.
Yeah.
So,
how did that happen?
So the first time was the very first game. Have I not told you the story how I got that first?
No.
Okay, so the very first game, the email comes out from the parking division the night before that says, the basic shit or whatever. Well, it says in there, if you have a grass lot pass, you cannot have a short bus, a box truck, an RV, etc. And I'm like, okay, what the fuck does etc. mean? Technically, the ambulance is a half a foot less than what the required length is. But who's to say that I won't get up there at 6 a.m. and this young punk who's running the scanner goes, nope, sorry, you can't come in here.
Right.
So shout out to Jamie Pollard. The guy answers emails. I emailed him at like 5 o'clock that afternoon. And I was like, hey, I'm not asking for anything special. I just need a clarification here. I don't know if I was able to get in last year. This reads a little differently than this year. I'm not sure if you guys are cracking down. I don't want to drive all the way up there if I can't get in. And his response, he emailed me back within 45 minutes and was like, as far as I know, there's been no changes. But let me copy you in, the head of parking, and he'll be able to answer your questions better. And then that guy emailed me back and said, nobody's going to be out there with a tape measure. We're not trying to hammer down on anybody. We're just trying to crack down on people that are blatantly going to break the rules. I seriously don't think that you'll have an issue. But just to make sure that you get in and that you enjoy the game, we have a free RV Village pass for you for the weekend. You're welcome to it. So he sent me a free RV Village pass.
Nice.
So we parked in row 700 right across from the fire truck that the guys from the fire truck.
Great.
So they come over. We're talking. Dude, it was the greatest day ever at tailgating. Met those guys. Got to ride. Me and Dave Larson got to ride on the back of the fire truck, leading the team out. We rode on the back of the fire truck. We met Keith Murphy, stopped by, Jalen Knoll and Jaden Higgins. While Dave and I were on the back of the ambulance getting ready to leave, I look over across and Jalen Knoll and Jaden Higgins were at our tailgate taking pictures with all our friends. They just walked up.
And you missed it.
And I missed it. Had an all day. It was the best day of tailgating ever, right? So we come back. The game was great. We drive home. This is the night that the transmission goes out. I'm driving home. I get to the corner of Ingersoll and MLK, and I stop at a stoplight, and I can see a little bit of steam. Like, when you stop and then the steam kind of catches up with you and kind of goes around.
Mm-hmm.
And I could smell it. And I looked at Stacy and she goes, what's that? And I go, we could be in trouble. She's like, you better pull over. And I was like, no, I don't think that if I pull over, we'll never make it home. So I limped it all the way to Norwalk, which is probably a good 3 or 4 miles. I get into Norwalk. I get around the corner from my house. I get down the street, and I get 30 feet from my driveway, and I'm literally pulling into the driveway, and it fucking stops. And I'm like this in the street. So nobody can go around me. And it won't go in reverse. It won't go in drive. I can't put it in neutral. It won't do shit. And I'm like, and I look out, and sure enough, man, shit's just gushing out from underneath the transmission. So my neighbor who helps me came out, hooked his truck up, yanked it good enough to unseize it, and we parked it down on the dead end, down on the street. So that was the first time. And then shout out Chris Cox and Keith Schragi. Chris Cox had a set of mechanics that he knew, called around the state of Iowa, found me a transmission, bought the transmission and went and got it for me, and then helped me get the thing towed to the mechanics. And then all said and done, it cost me like $1,600 to get everything fixed. I'd have never got it fixed without Chris Cox.
You mean you couldn't tow it to the mechanics with your Mustang?
No, I don't think so.
That V6
No.
piece of shit.
FYI, the tow was $350.
I know, I'm sure.
So anyways, so then we get it fixed. Well, then a couple weeks ago, the weather was kind of iffy. Dave texted me. He's like, hey, that it's rained a couple days up here. You might want to think about getting something. So like the night before the Arizona State game, I bought an RV pass for $150. No, $200. Bought it for $200. So then we got in there. That was the noon game. You could get in at 6. So I'm like, oh, we're fucking going right at 6 because I want to get 6 hours of partying in, right? Dude, I pull in there at 6 a.m. Everybody's fucking sleeping. And I'm like, oh, this was not a great idea. Nobody's going to want to hear me setting this shit up and drinking and got the TV. Like, these fucking people are going to hate me. I was like, why did I come here at 6 in the morning? It's not like the public lots when everybody else is getting there at 6, so they're all awake. These poor people are sleeping. You know, they're in their RVs.
The night before and slept in the ambulance.
Oh, we're getting to that. I didn't do that, but that's been talked about. So then this last time, Adam Batchelor on Twitter, big Iowa State fan.
Yep.
He has a pass for RV Village. He actually switched me spots because he was going to Wisconsin to see his family, and he was just wanting to drive his truck up here. He's like, hey, you take my spot. I'll take your grass lot spot. Have a good time. So I tailgated Saturday right next to Adam Batchelor, next to Kevin Larson, next to Brent Bloom. Bloom was right next to me. It was a good time. But we're sitting there, my nephew and I are talking, and we're like, I'm like, I can't very well justify buying an RV Village pass when I'm not going to sleep up here all weekend. And he's like, why the fuck wouldn't you want to sleep up here all weekend? I was like, I'm not sleeping in that ambulance. It's got one fucking bench in there. He's like, no. You get a hitch. We buy a pop-up camper. We pull that fucking pop-up camper behind here, and I'll stay up here with you on Friday nights. And I was like, okay, that we could maybe do. But, dude, that's the RV Village is not cheap. It's like a $4,000 donation level.
Yeah.
And then you buy your parking pot. Like, I don't know that I could justify that.
Yeah, we're gonna need a
lot more sponsors.
And a lot more sponsors.
A lot more listeners and a lot more sponsors.
We're gonna need to figure out whether we have to actually avoid certain topics to monetize YouTube.
Correct. Yes. Yeah.
Else.
Yeah. Right. I can't pirate any music anymore.
Yeah. I haven't seen a text about us getting yelled at for that in a while.
That's because we're using all IAI music now.
And
I'm not using that was actually 1 year ago on Thanksgiving morning, by the way, that I got my Facebook page shut down for that.
Yeah.
So I've been 1 year in without one strike. So I'm proud of myself.
Good job. We should probably leave on that note because
we probably should. That's right. All right. Well, hopefully we'll get Sam rescheduled. I know Sam was excited to come on, and I was excited to talk to him. But it's possible that we missed it. Now, full disclosure, Keith's guests are a lot older, and one of the other ones that we had he fell asleep. So, and we had to reschedule him. So I'll text Keith and tell him to make sure that his friends are awake. When
Oh,
it's time for the
geez.
show. So,
Terrible.
but I think I might have. Chase Souls, dad, I reached out to him today on Twitter, and I think he might be on the 8th. So,
Sure.
So that'll be fun, and then we'll wrap up the year, and then we'll get started again. So,
The eighth.
I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll have to see. I'm gonna be in a hotel room.
Oh well, then you ain't got anything to do.
Well, but it depends on what time I get to that hotel room.
That's fair. That's fair.
So
I know I've done a lot of traveling here. These last 4 months, man, I've been traveling too and living out of suitcases. It's not fun. I don't know how you do that. So
just do it as long as they keep sending me paychecks.
all right, there you go. All right, you have a great Thanksgiving, Aaron. Everybody, take a listen to the Three Beards Media Network. We got big shows this week, and everybody, take care of your family. And we are out of here.
Old man strength, built to last. Try to break me, you won't get past. Ain't no quit, ain't no doubt. You don't know tough till you've been worn out.